the negative effect of other people's behaviour. And that's what I think is really important. And if we don't have that self-belief, we don't grow, do we?
Yeah.
We don't develop our self-esteem.
And it's about teaching people how to treat you as well, because a lot of times we do get sort of caught up in learned behavior from our childhood, from our adult life, from our relationships. And, everything resonates within you with how you feel, about how a person speaks to you, how they treat you, because you are going to react emotionally first, always. So if someone that you deeply care about speaks in a very derogatory manner towards you for whatever reason, your first reaction is going to feel hurt.
Yeah.
So you have different paths now that you can go to that person and say, why did you speak to me like that?
Yeah.
You don't talk to me like that. Or if you say, make that choice, but then that person reacts in again, a negative way, you just think, okay, I need to back off. There's obviously an issue here, but you do need to talk about it. But we sometimes get into that situation where this person is treating me this way and I just stop responding, and you're not standing up for yourself. And this is where again, it starts to manifest sometimes in physical ailments.
Well, you back off, really, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you hold all those emotions inside, I think.
Well, to the point where sometimes it can manifest into some serious physical illnesses. Like I know my own mother in her life, she did have a lot of issues where she wasn't someone that stood up for herself a lot. So she would have situations where someone would hurt her, but she would feel in the heart chakra area. But eventually she ended up with an illness that took her life, which was pancreatic cancer. Which is where all of those negative issues and those negative emotions, they can radiate and they can turn into something physical. People have issues with their throat because they're not being heard or they're not speaking their truth. For whatever reason, they're being oppressed. All of a sudden, they have these mysterious throat issues, or hearing, or things to do with the hands, the physical. There's all kinds of things that how we're absorbing through the mind and our emotions. If it's not being handled in the right way and it's not being released from the body, guess what? It's going to turn up somewhere.
Yeah. And stress can do that as well, because it's not just about relationships. It's obviously about your workplace, the relationships in that, or just the actual functioning, of the workplace and your role in it.
Yeah.
And like you were saying earlier about, you've got to teach people how to treat you. Always reminds you of the Dr. Phil, you got to get people to treat you the way you want to treat them. You got to teach them.
Yeah, Dr. Phil.
That is,
I hear you.
Yeah. Which is true. And the other thing is, I suppose in a way there's three things really. So you've got you've got to teach people how you want to be treated, but also you've got to model really. Yeah. Because it's all very well sort of saying, well, or in your everyday life, I don't want you to treat me like that, I want you to treat me like this. Yeah. You also got a model, like exemplar.
Live it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you're never seen as behaving in such a way, and then they do it to you, when you say, I don't want to be treated like that, then that also helps. Or when you don't actually say anything. Like if you're in a relationship, a partner, and you want them to do something, and you've told them previously, I really would like you to help me do this, this, and this, or I really don't like it but it leads to an argument. So you feel frustrated. But if you got into a phase of actually modelling that behaviour over a period of time, when they start to do the same thing, and you say, "Thank you, I really appreciate that. I really appreciate you made the effort to do that. That made my life so much easier." And that's a slower process. It's not something that happens overnight. Does make a big difference. Yeah. But you're right with the communicating about yourself. Like I have a thyroid problem, and part of my problem was that I wasn't afraid to speak out or to be like that at work, but I found that when I was at home, if it was going to cause unnecessary tension and spark rows because I couldn't get the other person who I was talking to understand what I was saying, because they've also got their issues, then you're in this fight and flight complex. Yeah. So you submerge it. So all goes back really to what your personal goals are going to be and how you're going to achieve them.
Yeah. And you're kind of questioning your own value in that dynamic as well, because we want to be respected, we want to be appreciated, which is obviously something that is earned, but it's also a two-way street, and everybody wants to be heard, everyone wants to be listened to.
Yeah, they do. And,
without judgment.
Yeah. There were, back in the day, a long time ago, I remember in a conversation with an older lady who was a counsellor on my course that I was doing years ago, before I even became a teacher. She always said, if any changes starts with yourself, because whatever you've learned that you need to unlearn is to do with yourself. Whatever you're omitting or emitting to others is to do with yourself.
Yeah.
So that leads nicely into sort of kind of changing some of the negative things that we do that we don't want to do, is that having time out, like doing good things for ourselves, like yoga.
Yes.
Meditation.
Yeah.
It's
cannot sing the praises of meditation enough. Namaste.
Yeah. So do you meditate in the mornings, or when do you meditate?
I know you're very vigilant with all that. I do need to get back into it. My meditation, as I've said before on the show, is when I go for my walks in the morning with my dogs, because I go very early in the day when the sun's just sort of come up and everything's still quiet, and it's lovely because the dogs are happy to get out there. They're all bouncing out of their skin, just anxious to get out the door, and it's a happy time for me.
Yeah.
So it's a really good way for me to start my day. And this is when I'm alone with my thoughts. I think about the day coming up. I think about current issues in my life. So it's not meditation as in sitting quietly, closing my eyes and thinking. It's more about just being alone with my thoughts and processing. I haven't got anybody at me, pulling me away from that process. And it's a good hour in the morning where I can just be chilled. But I do like just the meditating side of things as well, because I'm getting better at it. I used to struggle with it a bit because I've got such a busy brain. There's always bees in there buzzing around.
Yeah, but I think, there's some people who obviously don't get on with meditation. They don't like it because they don't really like sitting still and being in the moment. Yeah. But you made a really relevant point that it's extremely important to be alone with yourself and be in the present. So if you don't like meditation, going for a walk in nature, on the beach, in the woods, or just down the garden path, that's a time where you're learning to just be at one. You're being in the present moment.
Just let go.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. Sorry, I won't do that.
And quite often, when I go for a walk, I see people, each to their own, it's not a criticism, but what I think is, how are they having that time alone if they've got headphones on and it's belting with music?
Yeah, they've just moved to another level of space. Yeah. It's not their own space.
Yeah, and so that may help them switch off, and maybe that's a really good way that some people do. I couldn't do that because I like to be quiet. Yeah. I like to just hear the birds.
But that's your rule.
Yeah, and that's good. That's why I said it's not a criticism. Some people like that, but I always think, wow, that's not really being in tune with nature and being connected. Yeah. And that's what we're all talking about, is any spiritual awareness is about connecting, and it starts with us back to the earth. Yep. So, when you see people going for a walk and they're still on their mobile phone.
Yeah, they're not disconnected.
No. And, where you get, it's great for friends to go and they, walk, but do you ever have a minute where you don't talk to each other for a minute? So,
I don't think we have that.
It would. I tell you, it would be interesting, wouldn't it?
If I'm sleeping.
Yeah. If you went for a walk and you had this rule with each other, I wonder how different it would make that walk. That you talked for a few minutes and then you had so many minutes quiet.
Or you had to communicate but without words.
That'd be different.
Yeah.
But it's. I think... I know that from my lifestyle of growing up in Cornwall, it was all about being in nature and touching base with nature. Yeah. So, farmers, all right, they're connected to the earth and they're out there, every day, but they still would have time to themselves where they just stand in the field, chewing a piece of grass or straw, just looking around them. And they would notice far more than you would because they'd learned to be still and not say anything. But it's a time to kind of de-stress as well, isn't it? Find a way to de-stress so you bring back that positivity, especially positive thoughts. Start learning to change those negative thoughts into positive.
Yeah.
You know, do you have a mantra that you have in the morning?
Not so much a mantra, but what I always come back to is happiness is not a destination. Happiness is where you start. And a lot of people get very confused by that because they think that they need to do certain things or to have certain things and then they'll be happy. Whereas, and that is my thing, and I'm much better at it than I used to be because there was always so many things going on in my life that were pulling me away from that core of happiness that's just the center of everyone's universe. You need to, if you're not there, how do I get back to that space? I just want to start out on that plane of, I'm happy, I'm content. How are you going to get to be that person where you're just, sure, it's okay to want things. This is why we were talking about vision boards and so forth. But you need to have that starting space in your mind with what, are you content in your life? And if not, why not?
Yeah.
How are you going to get back there? Because content equates to just being happy.
Yeah.
So that's my mantra.
Yeah.
Always pulling myself back to that.
Yeah, I agree. I really agree with that. There's a lot of affirmations that you can do to change your negative thoughts into positive and try and remember when we did that meditation course, which was about how to be happy, and that they talked very much about changing the negative thoughts into positive. So you build like a credit. Actually,
ask yourself the question: if something really, shitty is happening in your life, step back from it and say, okay, this is really terrible. I don't really have a lot of control over this, but how can I make this positive for me?
Yeah. But also,
what am I going to learn from it, you know?
Yeah. They, one of the main things was, with changing that negative thought, it's got to be the ability to try and be positive in your thought. Almost that you turn it into a loving feeling, that you don't want to upset people, or you want, like the disasters in the world, he said, that's not very nice that things have happened, but look at it that's their journey, right? Yeah. But you'd still send them love in a meditation, you'd still send money and supplies.
Absolutely. It can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah. So changing is like cause and effect, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But
and because thoughts are real, they're living things. As soon as you start focusing on those thoughts, that's where prayers come from.
Yeah, but they create energy, don't they?
Yeah.
Those thoughts become energy that becomes, it's a frequency that becomes an energy, and then it becomes something. So the more negative thoughts you have, you're attracting more negative thoughts. So like I was trying to say earlier about the bank account, you're building up that positivity of that credit. The minute you stop thinking the positive thoughts, you drop into deficit.
Yeah.
And you're going to attract that negativity with you.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's worth a try, because I spent a day doing the gratitude thing.
Okay.
In fact, I spent a week writing down the gratitude, the journal next to the bed.
Yeah.
So I did what is it you feel grateful for today? And at the end of the day, I'd look back on it and think, oh yeah, I did. I felt really grateful for that, and that. And I could add something to it. But if you want to try this as an exercise to bring in positive thoughts, gratitude is one of the best ways to start. The day. And you'll be surprised by the end of the week, you're actually kind of running out of the standard things to say, but you're bringing in the unusual. Like I started writing for things like, thank you for my comfortable bed.
Yeah.
Thank you for having, a clean, dry place to be in.
Food to eat, roof over your head.
The car.
Yep.
My little dogs.
Gratitude 101.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing what you can feel.
Cuddly puppy.
Yeah. Yeah. I sat down in my comfortable computer chair so I can type something on